Hey everyone, in today's video we're going to be going through the top 5 tips for operating the AI Nanocore in Eve Echoes. So, tip number 1, don't go completely AFK. It's as simple as it sounds, don't go AFK. There is deliberate design intent going into this AI Nanocore to make sure that we do not leave our phones for 8 hours straight. Yeah, it's that simple. Don't leave your phones just unsupervised for 8 hours straight. You'll understand why as we go further through these tips, but the best thing to do with regards to this is keep your phone nearby, glance at it every 5 minutes or so, just to make sure everything's all hunky-dory. Don't go putting it away in some remote corner where you're not going to look at it for 8 hours, otherwise you'll be severely disappointed in a multitude of cases. So, tip number 2. Install plenty of tanking modules. If you observe the AI Nanocore throughout the day, you will notice that it frequently turns off your tanking modules. Now, if your tank is perfectly fine-tuned, you'll find it's not going to be enough, because it'll be perfectly fine-tuned based on the assumption that it'll always be running. Design your tank based off of the assumption it will only be running 50% of the time, and it'll have a lot of slack to pick up in the time that it is running. So bear that in mind, you need more tank than you normally would. And next up we're going into capacitor stability. The AI has no concept of what capacitor is. It'll just keep on using capacitor until it's run out. If your fitting is, say, cap stable for 5 minutes tops, and you fly your ship typically by toggling your tanking modules on and off according to your capacitor levels, or maybe you're running the pulse crystal implant and your capacitor keeps on going down and you have to keep on turning the implant on and off. Whatever the case may be, make sure you are capacitor stable with a little bit extra on the top. It's as simple as that. It's kind of common across all PvE. So next up, and this one's going to get you scratching your heads a little bit, but there is a reason behind it, and that is keep your DPS low. Yes, I know I just said that for ratting, but hear me out here. So there is a 30-minute window for your refresh on the encounter screen. Now bearing in mind this is specific to high sec. If you're AFK ratting in null sec, God help you if you are, but if you are doing it in null sec, this will not apply to you. But if you're in high sec, you have to abide by the restrictions of the encounter screen. If the encounter screen for your 30 minutes only spawns you 4 missions, and your DPS is high enough for you to do 6 missions in that time, then when you've run out of those 4 missions, your AI, after a certain amount of time struggling to generate any missions, is going to turn off. And if you're one of those individuals that's going to leave your phone on the side running it for multiple hours at a time without supervision, you're going to just find that those many hours spent, you were just sat in space doing nothing. If you lower your DPS and swap out some of those heat sinks for tanking modules, the odds of your AI turning off are drastically decreased. Yes, your ticks may go down a little bit, but the whole point of this nanocore isn't about getting high ticks, it's about getting that persistent income throughout the day and getting your 50 encounters maxed out. If you want your ticks that badly to be really, really high, then I'd ask the question, why are you using the AI to start with? So that's that one. And of course, the 5th tip is going to be manually refresh the encounter screen. As I said, you need this to be a more of a supervised but mostly hands-off experience. But every half hour or so, if you can glance at your screen, just go into the encounter screen and press refresh. The reason I say this is because the AI doesn't go into the encounter screen every 30 minutes to hit the refresh button and scoop up the new missions. Instead, it will only hit the refresh button specifically when it's got no more missions left to run. So if you get a really good roll on your first refresh and you get 7 missions and it takes 45 minutes to get through all 7 of those missions, there's going to be a 15-minute gap where the refresh button could have been pressed to stock up on new missions, but never was. Again, this one isn't completely necessary, but if you can keep close by to your phone around that half-hour mark, just press the refresh button. It'll be a little bit more efficient. Yeah, that's all to be said for that one. So those are the 5 top tips I've got. If I get any more tips going forwards, I will be sure to put them into future videos. If you have any more tips of your own to suggest, feel free to pop them down in the comments below. And of course, if you want to see more of these videos, feel free to hit like or subscribe, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks again.